Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of Bill Chase and the Movies, and I have eight big ones to review for you this week. Let's get right to it with the new comedy Hot Tub Time Machine. Now, a lot of people have accused this of either being a low-rent hangover, and actually some of you said is it being better than The Hangover. I actually think it's a very good movie, not quite as good as The Hangover, but probably one of the funniest movies I've seen so far this year, besides She's Out of My League. Now, this movie stars John Cusack as Adam. He and three other friends, including young Jacob and his two good buddies who are about his age, Lou, played by Rob Corddry, and Craig Robinson, who plays Nick, all get sucked back into the 80s after they enter the Hot Tub Time Machine, as we see in the commercials. But here's the thing I love about this movie is that the fact that it's not just a typical midlife crisis film. I mean, yeah, it starts out that way, but they go back in time to truly, they look like they're having fun, but I think they want to right the so-called wrongs in their life, and they really try to figure out what is wrong. There are some very, very funny scenes here when they interact with people from their past. It's really handled with care here. It's not just prototypical, oh, that's my future wife, or oh, hey, that's my mother, as the character Jacob realizes in one scene. And this movie, I really like too how they're so, even though they want it to go back in a way, that they're so entranced with the modern era now that they almost forget how to interact in the 80s again. It's really funny, but yet they recognize everything. And I love how the character of Jacob, played by Clark Duke, who might be a star on the rise, really just has such trouble adjusting. You've seen the scene in the trailers where he's trying to talk to this girl saying, oh, I'll text you. What? I'll email you. What? It's just stuff like that I really love. And I also love Craig Robinson as Nick. He really has this sort of subtle comedic timing, but yet can go over the top. He can turn it on and off like a light switch. He's kind of like reminds me of the Second City crew. Someone like Steve Martin who can really just deliver his lines so steady and then just boom, just go over the top at the right exact time. Craig Robinson's timing is really going to be, I guess you could say, a major factor in his career. It's going to really be a good contributing factor. I also love the cameos by Chevy Chase as the hot tub repairman. It's really good to throw a little 80s actor in there. And of course, Crispin Glover, of course, of Back to the Future fame, as some of you may remember him as George McFly. And I love how they threw him in there. And I just love the little pop culture references. They were handled well, almost like a Family Guy kind of sense, where they really just did smart, sophisticated things with the jokes. All the actors are really good here. John Cusack, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated actors in all of Hollywood. Here's a guy who does not get enough recognition for what he can do, and he can almost adapt to any genre of film. And this is what I like about him. He's never won an Oscar. He's never even been nominated. And the thing about John Cusack is that bad movies are very few and far between. The only really, truly terrible movie I can think he's done is Serendipity. And other than that, I've either thought his movies were either good, great, or even the ones that were not so great were still decent. But yet, he's a guy who just has a level of consistency that very few actors have. He's not always going to be a box office draw, but I always enjoy his movies more so than I hate them. Now, Hot Tub Time Machine, again, like I said, it's being compared to The Hangover. And it has a lot of those similar aspects there in terms of the party thing. But yet, I think the big difference between this movie and The Hangover was that The Hangover had more of what you would call an aggressive energy to it. This film has that energy, but it's not as raw and, just non-stop energetic as The Hangover was. There are a lot of dead spots here. In my opinion, The Hangover didn't have a single dead spot in the entire film. Despite that, however, Hot Tub Time Machine is a fun ride, and I give it 3.5 stars out of 5.